You're at a bar, or maybe a house party. The energy is loud. You're standing in a circle of guys and the conversation inevitably drifts to last night's game. Someone asks you, "Did you see that play in the fourth quarter?" Your stomach drops. Just a little. You didn't watch it. You don't follow the league. You barely know the rules. Now your brain starts racing. Fast. Do I fake it? If I say no, do I look boring? Am I the odd one out? Why can't I just connect like everyone else? You feel that subtle wall go up, that invisible barrier between you and the group. You feel like you're missing a secret language that everyone else speaks fluently. And for a second, you wonder if this lack of interest makes you less of a man, less connected, less normal. Here is the truth that flips everything on its head. You aren't disconnected because you don't care about sports. You feel disconnected because you think your value depends on sharing their interests. You're not crazy. This isn't about being broken or antisocial. Most guys feel exactly this pressure to conform, and nobody ever explains why it feels so heavy. By the end of this video, you will understand the exact psychological reason why some men genuinely don't care about sports, why that indifference is actually a superpower if framed correctly, and how to use that quiet confidence to attract people who are drawn to you, not just your opinions. Let's get into it. Most guys believe that shared interests are the glue that holds social bonds together. They think, if I don't like what they like, I have nothing to offer the conversation. They believe that opting out of sports talk is a social deficit, a gap in their personality. But the real truth is much deeper. Women, and high-value social groups, don't bond over topics. They bond over energy. She doesn't care if you know the stats. She cares about how you hold yourself when you don't know the stats. When you try to fake interest in sports, your energy shifts. It becomes performative. You're trying to fit a mold, and she senses that. Her gut tells her something is off. She feels a tiny crack in your authenticity. That's when attraction dies. Not because you dislike football, but because you're willing to betray your own preferences to seek validation. But when you are comfortable in your disinterest, when you can stand there, calm and grounded, and say, "Nah, not my thing," without apology, that's when the dynamic flips. You stop seeking approval. You start offering presence. Attraction doesn't start when you win her attention by talking about what she expects. It starts when you master your own reality. When you show that your sense of self is solid, regardless of the topic at hand. This isn't about hating sports. It's about realizing that your indifference is not a void. It's space. Space for you to be interesting in ways that actually matter. Here are the 5 psychological truths about why some people don't care about sports and how that mindset makes you magnetic. First, the validation trap. Most guys treat sports knowledge as social currency. They memorize highlights and stats because they're afraid of silence. They think, if I'm not contributing to the main topic, I'm invisible. So they force themselves to care. They nod along. They pretend. But here is the psychological truth. Neediness is repulsive. Indifference is intriguing. When you pretend to care, you are signaling that you need their acceptance to feel okay. You are handing them your power. But when you genuinely don't care, you signal that your self-worth is internal. It's not up for debate. Imagine this scenario. The wrong approach. Someone asks, "Crazy game last night, right?" You panic. You say, "Yeah, totally wild. That ref was blind." You're lying. Your voice is slightly higher. You're checking their face to see if you said the right thing. The right approach. You smile, calm, grounded. You say, "I missed it. I was busy reading, hiking, or working on my project. Was it a good one?" Notice the difference? In the first version, you are a chameleon. In the second, you are a mountain. And when you do that, she feels safe. She realizes you aren't trying to impress her. You're just being real. That's emotional caffeine for her brain. Second, the depth versus distraction divide. Most guys consume sports as a distraction. It's noise. It's background radiation. They use it to avoid thinking about their actual lives, their goals, or their emotions. It's easy. It's passive. But the men who don't care about sports often replace that distraction with depth. This is the part nobody talks about. Sports are designed to hijack your tribal instincts. They give you a fake team to cheer for. But if you opt out, you usually opt into something else. Creation, skill, philosophy, business, art. Her inner monologue isn't thinking, "He doesn't know sports." It's thinking, "What is he passionate about instead?" If your answer is nothing, then yeah, you're boring. But if your answer is, "I'm obsessed with building this app," or "I'm learning to cook Italian food," you instantly become more interesting than the guy who can recite every quarterback's ERA. Example time. Wrong approach. "I don't watch sports. I just kinda chill and watch Netflix." Right approach. "I don't follow sports much. I've been pouring that energy into learning guitar lately. It's frustrating, but I love the process." See the shift? One is a void. The other is a direction. That's the shift that turns interest into obsession. She wants to know more about your passion because it shows you have a life outside of consumption. Third, the silence confidence. Most guys are terrified of silence. They think conversation is a tennis match where you have to keep the ball in the air. If the topic is sports and you don't play, you drop the ball. So you scramble, you overtalk, you fill the air with noise. But here's what changes everything. Silence is not empty. Silence is heavy. It has weight. When you don't care about the dominant topic, you have a unique opportunity to practice being comfortable in the pause. You don't need to jump in. You can listen. You can observe. You can let the silence sit for a second before you speak. Not loud confidence, not fake confidence, not flexing at the gym confidence, but quiet, grounded, "I know who I am" confidence. When you are okay with not having an opinion on the game, you stop performing. You start listening. And women are starved for listeners. Picture this. The group is arguing about a call. Everyone is shouting. Most guys jump in to pick a side, to be part of the tribe. You? You lean back. You take a sip of your drink. You wait. Then, when there's a lull, you ask a question that shifts the frame. Does it really matter who won, or are we just enjoying the chaos? You disrupt the pattern. Her gut is saying, something about him is different. He's not caught in the drama. That's when she starts replaying the conversation in her head, because you were the only one who wasn't reacting. You were acting. Fourth, the identity anchor. Most guys let their identity be defined by external teams. I'm a Lakers fan. I'm a Yankees guy. Their mood depends on strangers playing a game. Their happiness is outsourced. But the man who doesn't care about sports has anchored his identity internally. This isn't a trick. This is who you're becoming. When you don't tie your emotional state to a scoreboard, you become stable, predictable, grounded. In a world of chaos, Stability is the ultimate aphrodisiac. She feels this instantly. When she's had a bad day, she doesn't want a guy whose mood swings based on a touchdown. She wants a guy whose mood is steady because it's based on his own principles. Let's look at the language. Wrong approach. Man, I'm so pissed off. My team blew it, ruined my whole weekend. Right approach. Rough loss for them, but I'm good, just focusing on my week ahead. The first guy is a leaf in the wind. The second guy is the tree. And when you do that, she feels secure. She knows that no matter what happens in the world, you will remain you. That's rare. That's magnetic. Fifth, the curiosity bridge. Most guys think that not caring about sports means they have nothing to talk about. They see it as a dead end, a conversation killer. But here is where it gets interesting. Disinterest is the best bridge to deeper connection. When you admit you don't care about sports, you invite the other person to explain why they do. You turn the spotlight on them. And people love talking about their passions. You become the interviewer, the observer, the guy who is curious about them, not just the topic. This flips the script. You're no longer the guy who doesn't know. You're the guy who wants to understand her experience. Example. She says, "I can't believe you don't watch the Super Bowl." Most guys get defensive. "It's dumb. Commercials are better." You get curious. "I know it's huge. What is it about it that you love? Is it the community? The spectacle?" Now you're not talking about football. You're talking about her. You're talking about connection, about tradition, about feeling part of something. Her brain says, "This guy doesn't need me to validate him. He's actually interested in how I feel." That's the key. You use your lack of interest in the sport to gain interest in the person. And that's when the vibe shifts from awkward to intimate, effortless, real. Listen, bro, this isn't about memorizing a list of excuses for not watching TV. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need external validation to feel whole. When you internalize this, you stop performing and start being. And that's when everything shifts. You realize that your value isn't in what you know, it's in who you are. So, stop chasing the spark of shared hobbies. Become the flame of genuine presence. The man who knows he's enough never has to pretend to care. If this resonated with you, if you felt that shift in perspective, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that you're part of the men who are choosing depth over distraction. And if you want to know how to translate this same grounded energy into your first dates, so you never run out of things to say again, click this video right here. It's the next step in mastering your social gravity. I'll see you there.